Hello, Matthews Gatos here. In this video, we're going to look at how do we solve something graphically. To solve it graphically, we have to come up with a nice detailed graph, and we're looking at for the x-intercepts. Before I can put it into my calculator, I need to isolate my equation. In other words, I need to set it to 0. So 24 take away 24 is 0. And on this side, I have 12x squared plus 23x minus 24 equals 0. So now that it's isolated, I'm going to put this into my graphing calculator. This is y1, and this side will be y2. So let's go into our calculator, and you can see in y1, I have my equation. In y2, I have 0. Now let's adjust our windows, because at negative 24, I'm not going to see the y-intercept with my standard window setting. So I think my x values are okay, but I think I'm going to go down a little bit more. Let's go down to negative 40, and I'm just guessing, and we'll go up by 4s. Hit graph. Okay, now that's a good window setting because I can see x-intercepts, y-intercept, and vertex. So let's calculate the different parts. So let's do the vertex. Second trace. It's either going to be second trace or trace. This opens up and it has a minimum. So let's go around to the left side of the minimum. Press enter. Around to the right side of the minimum, press enter. Enter one more time, and there is my vertex. So I'll put that on my graph all together. Let's now do our y-intercept. So the y-intercept I knew from my equation was the one without an x value, but just to check, it would be trace 0. So when x is equal to 0, press enter. Y is negative 24. And then lastly, we have to find our x-intercepts. So second trace, and I'm going to do intersect, which is why it's really important to put in your x-axis. Otherwise, you have nothing to intersect the graph with. So I press down arrow, and you can see up here now I'm on the x-axis. I think it's easier to toggle left and right. So go to the first one and press enter 3 times. There's my first x-intercept. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Now, before I do, I'm going to show you this neat little trick. Go out to your main window really quick, and I'm going to press X, and that will store the x-intercept that I just found. I'm going to show you where that comes in handy in a minute. So back into my menu, and I want to intersect, down arrow, this time over to the other side, and press enter 3 times. Okay, and then I get 0.75, and I can take that one out and enter as well. So let's put this all together on our graph. So I'm going to have to adjust my window setting because we went all the way down to negative 40 and we went down by 4s. So I'm going to copy that same window setting on my graph. So let's graph our minimum value first. Our minimum value was negative 0.95. So really close to negative 1 and negative 35. So right about there. Now, when we do a graph, we always have to label. So I'm going to label this as negative 0.95, comma, negative 35.02. I'll just call it negative 35. Okay. Now, the next point that I had was my y-intercept at negative 24, which is right there. And then I had my x-intercepts. So one x-intercept was at negative 2.6 repeating. So negative 1, negative 2, right about there, negative 2.6, and that was repeating. My other x-intercept was at 0.75, so right about there, 0.75. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is connect the dots. This will be my quadratic. Hold on a second, I put this on the wrong side. Let me just adjust that. Let's put it over here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go like that with an arrow and go like that with an arrow. So what I need to do now is state my solution. So in terms of the solution is your x-intercepts, but we need to state that. We need to show that we know what the solution is. So the solution is negative 2.6 repeating and also 0.75. Now, if we solve something graphically, always a good idea to check it algebraically, because what if I made a mistake when I was putting it into my calculator? I need to be able to catch that. So I'm going to put in my first solution, which was negative 2.6 repeating. Now, back to my graphing calculator. Here's my little trick. I'm going to go up here and grab that, press enter, and I'm going to math bracket. Oh, it's not going to do it. So here's another little trick. So I'm going to go 2.6 repeating and then math bracket. There we go, -8/3. Okay, so back to my equation here, and I'm going to replace each of these with -8/3. And I want to check to see if that works out. Okay, so I can actually put this into my calculator just to check to see if it works. So let's go back over here, and I'm going to do 12 times in brackets, go up here and grab it, close my bracket, squared, plus 23, and in brackets, go up here and grab that. And then minus 24. Actually, we're doing with the original equation, so I'm actually going to leave it like that. And yes, I get exactly 24. Now, if you rounded, you wouldn't get it exactly equal to 24, but it would be close enough that you'd say, yeah, that's the answer. Okay, back to my calculator again, and my other answer was 0.75, which I know is 3/4, but just in case you want to verify it, there it is at 3/4. So over here, I'm going to do 3/4 and 3/4. And I always go to the original equation again, just in case I made a mistake when I was isolating. So same thing, I'm going to do 12 and in brackets, 3/4 squared, and then plus 23 in brackets. And then I'll go here to 3/4, and that is equal to 24. So I know that 24 equals to 24, so I can safely say for sure my solutions are x equals -8/3 and x equals to 3/4.